Hi, it's Jeanette with Parsnips and Parsimony, and today is my 17-week pregnancy update. One of the major symptoms that I've been having of this pregnancy this past week has been low blood pressure. Now, up until about a week ago, I've been staying right between 85 over 60 and upwards to maybe 100, but I haven't been hitting 100 much. It's been 80, 85 to 95. And that has been okay. I have been pretty well symptom-free, haven't had any issues. My midwife says as long as you're not having any symptoms, there's really nothing we need to do about it. But when I went on vacation a week and a half ago, I think I got a little on the dehydrated side. Now, I took my famous water bottle with me and I did a product review on this, and I am so glad that I have this. But I don't think, even though I was being really consistent to drink at least 8 cups of water a day, I don't think it was enough because it was extremely hot. We were swimming, we were on the beach, we were biking, we were really active the entire 4 days that we were camping. And apparently it must not have been enough. It was enough to make me feel okay, but I think long-term wise I was slowly dehydrating myself because we came home on a Thursday night, and by Friday night, so almost 24 hours later, I was so dizzy, which is really not totally unusual for me because right around 16, 17 weeks with my other pregnancies, I tend to get a little dizzy. I never attributed it to being or having low blood pressure with any of my other pregnancies. Maybe that's because I didn't check it, I'm not sure. But you know, I've had that dizziness right in the beginning of that second trimester with the other pregnancies, so I didn't think that much of it. But as Friday rolled into Saturday, I was still very, very dizzy and pretty much non-functioning. I ended up texting my midwife and I'm like, hey, you know, what do you think I should do about this? Because this is not good. Mom of 6 cannot stay in bed all day. So she asked me, you know, what was the lowest blood pressure I'd gotten. And on Friday night, my lowest pressure was 75 over 53, if my memory serves me. I know the 75 is right. And that at that point, that's the lowest I've seen it. I had never seen it get down into the 70s, and apparently that's my threshold where I can no longer function normally if my pressure goes down that low. So she said you need to increase your fluid amount, which again, I thought I was drinking enough, but I needed to up that. And then she said you need to increase your sodium or your salt intake. So I said, well, what do you eat that's healthy? And she told me to have Art go and pick up a tin of mixed nuts because the nuts would have good healthy fats for you as well as a lot of minerals and nutrients that you really need for this pregnancy, and they're salted. I tried my best to keep increasing my drinking, and the dizziness got better, but it definitely was not resolved on Sunday. It was a little bit better, and then Monday I really worked very hard at drinking a ton of fluids, and I ended up drinking well over 100 ounces. And I have to say, the dizziness went away. I actually felt a little bit better. So that's been the biggest struggle this past week with the pregnancy, is just this dizzy thing. I have been monitoring my blood pressure and we're back in that 80, 90 range. And it seems like I can comfortably sit there and not have any problems. I still continue to have some restless leg symptoms, and because we're away, I did not really stay up with the magnesium because the magnesium can kind of be a hit or a miss. Sometimes it can cause you to have diarrhea. That was not something I really wanted to experience while I was on vacation, so I did not take the magnesium while I was away. But some nights I had some problems with it, some nights I didn't. But it definitely seems like the magnesium helps a lot when I remember to consistently take it. Another symptom I've been having of pregnancy this past week is super dry eyes. Never had that symptom with any of my other pregnancies, as well as what appears to be allergies. Now, I have had allergies in the past, but 2 years ago when I went into an anti-candida diet, I pretty much kicked all of my allergies for good. I haven't had any problems with them. And lo and behold, what comes out of the blue? And looking back, I actually had something like this 4 or 5 weeks ago, but I thought I had a cold. I didn't think that much of it. And then I went back onto my vitamin C and echinacea routine, and it just cleared up, so I figured it was a cold. But it happened again, and it's accompanied by these dry and itchy eyes. Well, I've attributed it to the fact that I have developed some sort of allergies, or my allergies have returned due to this pregnancy. It seems like it's totally related again to if I'm consistently taking my vitamin C every day. If I don't take that every day, it seems like my allergies come back, and if I take it every day, they seem to go away. Now, it doesn't deal with the dry eyes. That I haven't figured out what to do about that. But as long as I'm not really stuffy and sneezing and blowing my nose like I was a couple days ago, I can live with the itchy eyes. I might not look beautiful for the camera, and if you guys watch our daily vlogs, you might notice my eyes look really red and swollen. That's why. It's just one of those symptoms of pregnancy. As for weight gain, I'm steady at 5 pounds right now. I'm not sure if that number, as I get a little bit more hydrated, if that number is going to go up a little bit. I don't want to get to hit 160 at the end of this pregnancy. That's the only time I hit 160 was when I was pregnant with Peter, and Peter was a huge baby. Well, huge baby for me, 8 pounds, 9 ounces. But I had so much fluid. So many people asked me if I was having twins. That's how big I was. I couldn't even fit into size large clothing. I had to fit into extra large, and even that was super, super tight. So I don't want to hit that 160 mark. My comfort zone with most of my pregnancies, other than Charity, who I had preeclampsia with, is right in that 150 to 155 range. It doesn't matter when I gain the weight, it seems like that's where my body ends up. I do not think this is a big baby. And the reason I say that is this past Tuesday night, I was 17 weeks pregnant exactly, and I could still fit into my emergency squad uniform. Now, usually I'm busting at the seams by 10 weeks. 12 weeks, it's impossible to get into my uniform. So I just think, for whatever reason, this baby seems to be on the smaller side, and we'll find out more when I go for my 20-week ultrasound. As for baby movement, I've always felt my babies right around that 11 to 13 week time frame, and there was really nothing that I could distinguishably say, oh, that's the baby, until maybe a week ago, not even a week ago, a couple days ago, which is really unusual. Again, I think that corresponds with that whole smaller baby thing, and I might be wrong about that, and we'll find out at that ultrasound. The only other thought that went through my mind is maybe I have an anterior placenta, and an anterior placenta is where your placenta is at the front of your uterus instead of at your back, where a lot of placentas are implant in the back there. Now with Mary, I had an anterior placenta, and she didn't present any problems by having an anterior placenta. The only issue you have to watch is making sure that you don't fall or experience any trauma to the front of your abdomen, because the placenta is right there. A fall or anything right on your stomach could lead to a placental abruption, bleeding, things like that. I do think I did fall with Mary. I was carrying Lydia on the front of me, and I just misstepped on the steps going into our home, and I went splat right on the stairs, and I landed on Lydia and I landed on my stomach. And I didn't have any pain or anything, but when it came to her delivery, Mary's delivery, one of the first things that actually told me that I was in labor is I had a lot of bleeding. And I called my midwife. You know, when you wake up at 5 in the morning to use the bathroom and you're greeted by a humongous blood clot, something's not right there. And when I called her, she said, oh, it was probably your bloody show. But when she saw it for herself, she's like, yeah, that's a lot more than just your bloody show. So, you know, again, we couldn't say, oh, that's from falling and that's because you had an anterior placenta. We can't say that, but that thought did cross my mind of why I had that. It wasn't a hemorrhage, but it was a pretty significant amount of bleeding for the first couple hours of her labor. It then stopped, and then it picked up just before I delivered again. and maybe we had a small abruption in there from that fall, who knows. That's the thought I had, is maybe the reason I'm not feeling this baby is because I have an anterior placenta, and if that's the case, I want to make sure that I'm very careful about my activity level. I don't meet with my midwife for another 2 weeks. At that appointment, she will be giving me my script for my 20-week ultrasound. And for us, I feel like that 20-week ultrasound is a big ultrasound because I haven't had any ultrasounds up to this point. Depending on what we find at this ultrasound, we'll decide whether or not we will continue to plan on having a home birth or not. So I wouldn't say I'm nervous about it, but definitely that's in the back of my mind. You know, get through this, find out if everything's all right, and then we can go ahead and plan, are we going to be doing a home birth or a hospital birth? So if you guys are new to my channel and are just watching this video, I have had 3 previous home births and 3 previous hospital births. My preference is definitely a home birth. I think they're just more conducive for my type of personality and the fact that my labors are so quick. Once they kick into gear, there's no stopping them, and there's not a lot of time to get places. If you guys have any questions about the pregnancy or about home birth or anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll give you a quick shot of my not so big baby belly. So I think that's it for our week 17 pregnancy update. Thanks so much for watching. Please make sure that you subscribe by hitting the red button below and stay up to date on all of my pregnancy updates. Again, I try to do these as frequently as possible, but sometimes life just happens. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you for our next video. Bye.